Good afternoon, Paul Hawksby and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. It's time once again to go game by game through the Premier League weekend with Danny Kelly. I'm sure we'll want to salute a musical genius who we lost today, the great Jimmy Cliff. Good afternoon, Danny.
Oh, Paul, you're absolutely right. That's one of my favourite tunes ever across every genre of music. I've had the pleasure of meeting Jimmy Cliff in the past, and he was, before Bob Marley came along, he was the first Jamaican star, along with Desmond Dekker, to make an impact internationally. So he's an incredibly important person, and I'm really sorry to hear that he's left us.
Yeah, that Harder They Come soundtrack still stands up. I saw the film again a little while ago. It's a brilliant film.
Oh yeah. You drive? Well, drive. As he says when he hijacks the car. You drive? Well, drive.
You two should just have a bit of film chat. We'll forget about Arsenal.
Yeah. I'd really like to do that, Andy.
Well, this is all eating into the time we have to reflect on the. Now, of course, I'm sure you've recorded the view from the lane off your.
I have.
After your Sarfraz Noaz long run. But anyway, let's just touch on it briefly. We did talk to David O'Leary. Your views overall for that fairly gutless performance. I don't want to lead the witness, but I'm guessing you feel that was a fairly gutless performance.
I'll go further, Paul. It's the kind of performance that got Nuno sacked at Tottenham. And people I know, sensible people, mature people not looking for drama or clickbait headlines, have suddenly ticked over from the obvious, this isn't working, to this isn't going to work, is it? And it's ridiculously early to be saying that, but I suspect you cannot. Imagine you are one of the 10 richest, at least financially, clubs in the world. You cannot put out a team like that in a local derby and then get thrashed. You can put that team out and get a result, but you cannot put the team out and watch them making no effort to score, indeed no effort full stop. I thought it was scandalous, and I'm using that word advisedly. And if when the Chelsea game came round with the lowest recorded XG for a home team for a long time, there was experts saying, well, that can't be better this season. Spurs have done it again.
Hold my beer.
No, I mean, if Chelsea had taken their chances,
it would have been. Well, it should have been four in that game.
That game as well, definitely.
I don't know. I come away from the match. A couple of people in the meeting before the show said, I bet you love Eze. And you think, I've got absolutely no problem with Eze. It was the fault of our board and our old chairman that dragged his heels, as he's often done on deals in the past. That he always wanted to go there. If the option to go there was on, it was the club he started his career. It completed the circle. Completely respect what he's done. I think he's a fantastic player, and I hope he plays well for. I mean, he's given us a kick in yesterday, and I don't blame him for that. But I've got absolutely no problem.
Had him enough space on the edge of the box.
I've got no problem with Eze. Don't know about you.
No problem at all. Why wouldn't he? And here's the reverse side of that. If he doesn't want to play for Spurs, then we don't want him there either. It's not sour grapes. It's just that you want players who want to play for the club for the right reasons. Yeah. He's an Arsenal boy. He's from an Arsenal family, and he's gone to the club he wants to go to. I can't see any problem with that.
It was done, though, because I sat with his agent in the first weekend of the season, and he said to me, Eze's definitely going to Tottenham. So it was done. And
Steve Parish was over saying at the Chelsea game, God blimey, this is I don't know why it's taking so long. Anyway, let's move on.
Can I just say that Paul started watching Gone Fishing at 3-0?
Yeah, I tell you what, I wanted to, but a bit like sometimes when you rubberneck on the motorway, you don't want to look, you can't help yourself. But
I said to him, Bob Mortimer's got more chance of catching a fish than Spurs ever getting back in this game.
At 4-1, I did send Andy and away. Anyway, well done. It was a thumping win for Arsenal.
Yeah.
But, Anyway, Leeds won. Leeds won. Aston Villa 2. Again, we had a quick chat with David O'Leary just now.
Yeah.
And Daniel Farke was getting some heat after the game. It's difficult from there. But I mean, they went in front, but that even at home, that wasn't
a little bit unlucky with the disallowed goal.
It was handball.
It was handball, but it was unlucky that it hit his hand and not his
but
stomach.
If it goes straight in,
I'm not disputing that.
No,
it was still unlucky that it didn't hit his stomach rather than his hand and go in.
There was a guy taken away from in front of the dugout, and I understand that the Leeds fans are pretty unhappy with Farke. But the difference between them and say Spurs is that the Leeds players look like they're still putting in a full shift. I thought, to return to the disaster in North London, the Spurs players. One of the advantages of watching on TV is you can see the look on the players' faces.
Yeah.
And they were staring side-eye at each other from the very start, thinking, "What are we trying to do here?"
Yeah.
You could see that. Whereas Leeds, whatever about the crowd, the team still seemed to be in it on behalf of the manager. I thought they were pretty good in the first half. The questions that still remains, with all that attacking and all that fervour from the home crowd, who's going to get goals for them? And then we saw the quality of Aston Villa. You know, the winner shows the difference between two sides. They've got players, Aston Villa, who can do that.
Yeah.
They're bringing on Donyell Marlon. You know, Leeds would kill for a Donyell Marlon, and that's just the imbalance of what's available to teams at the upper end and the lower end of the Premier League.
I mean, they had more shots on target Leeds than Villa, but you're right. It was just the quality, and that another one.
Wall though, and the goalkeeper for Rodgers.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper, what was he doing? He just sort of watched it go.
I mean, it's a free kick, but he struck it in the same way as the goal he scored against Spurs.
He didn't hit it with a massive amount of power.
He kind of bunts it, doesn't he? I mean, it's the old valve, isn't it, Danny? You hit the old valve and it wobbles a bit.
At that pace, the keeper should have saved it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Andy. And we saw the person who was the king of this long before David Beckham even, and when Cristiano Ronaldo was Juninho at Lyon. And the trouble is, so many times it does look like the goalkeeper has become hypnotised or something. It did see it very, very late, I think, but. In fact, all goalkeepers know, even if you're not getting anywhere near, you've got to dive. You've got to put on a show for the crowd.
Yeah.
You can't just stand there staring at it.
Not ideal.
Let's move on then to Newcastle 2, Manchester City 1. A couple of controversial moments in many people's eyes. I like Andy, felt that Phil Foden should have had a penalty with that Fabian Schär tackle. I don't know about you.
The laws on the penalty are so exact now that you could argue that the officials got that right. That he didn't. It's if you make the contact after the ball has left the other person's foot, there are get-out clauses for the officials, and they chose to exercise them. The problem, as always, is going to be consistency, because next week we'll see a penalty given for exactly the same thing. But first of all, we should say, Andy, we shouldn't let the two slightly controversial moments overrule the fact this was a fantastic game of football.
Yeah.
In a league which lacks a little bit of quality, great competitive league at the moment, lacking a little bit of quality, this was a fantastic game. And, City are still working their way back to what they were 2 years ago when they were champions of Europe. And Newcastle at home can take on anybody. Harvey Barnes is doing what sometime in each of the next 6 months, somebody at Newcastle has to take some of the stress off Nick Valdemar of getting the goals. He's doing it now. I don't expect him to go on and get 20 goals this season, but whether it's Jacob Murphy or Visser when he comes back,
Visser will make a difference, definitely.
They've got to just make sure it's not just left to Valdemar.
Won't he be straight off to AFCON? So when he play about 2 games and then go to AFCON?
Probably, yeah.
I think it'll be a bit
no goal from Haaland, and what a remarkable statistic that he's only ever scored 1 goal against Newcastle in his career. What would that be?
You get those kind of weird anomalies,
really
don't
strange.
you? It seems increasingly that if you can kind of keep Doku quiet as you can, that does cause City problems, because he is such a supply line. He draws players to him. But Livramento did a good job on him, I think, overall.
I think tactically they set up Newcastle. Well, we haven't got a sort of whiteboard here to show it on. They did everything they could to push Manchester City wide, and to take a chance, as you say, that their centre halves will once again compete with Erling Haaland in the air. And in the end, City, they weren't frustrated. They kept going right to the end. I thought it was just a really good game against a City side that are not quite the power they were. Yeah. And Newcastle found a way to win it.
And maybe, I think it was Joe Hart, wasn't it, on Match of the Day, talking about Donnarumma getting sucked into these and Vicario did the same thing until he learnt not to, and he's been better for it, I think. But Donnarumma doesn't want to get sort of sucked into those, because when players know that you're going to do that and it's going to put you off, they're going to do it even more. Yeah,
and don't forget, he's had several years in Paris where there was almost no contact with him because the opposition didn't get that many touches in his penalty area. So whether he's become unused to it or whether it's just something that he's got to learn, in the Premier League, because you're absolutely right. If you start making an issue of it, the cynical old heads in the Premier League will of course go for, do that more now.
Yeah, get on his wick, get in front of him, you know, because he will react and he will. Anyway,
credit to Newcastle. Though when City equalised so quickly, you thought they'd have the momentum, get the next goal. But they didn't.
No, it was good performance by them. Well done, Harvey Barnes, as Danny said. You know, to have missed that really good one in the first half and then, you know, not let it put him off.
He's a good player, isn't he? He's always a good player, yeah.
So I'm sure the Phil Foden call and the Donnarumma, was it a foul or not? All things that will come up in the Men in Black podcast. Offside confusion, non-penalties, dodgy handballs, all the big controversies. Sam Matterface and the former Premier League ref Chris Foy. You'll get the definitive verdict on all the weekend's chaos in the Men in Black podcast. You can download, subscribe and listen now on YouTube or talkSPORT's Premier League All Access feed. Next up, we will bring you, Wolves fans, Wolves 0, Crystal Palace 2 to kick off the second section as we go game by game with Danny Kelly through the Premier League weekend. You can check out Toolstation and their unmissable deals, great offers on hundreds of trade brands. Next stop, Toolstation.